Meg, you pitched a story about a Superfund site, a new recycling plant, and some Ramapough Indians that are quite upset. What do you got?
Right. So I was back in Ringwood. It's on the border between New Jersey and New York. I met with Chief Perry and Vivian Milligan, who are lifelong Ringwood residents and members of the Ramapough Lenape Indian Nation, who have always lived on that land. They're frustrated by the EPA's most recent plan to move a recycling plant from where it sits on Peters Mine Road across the street to a Superfund site where tons of soil were contaminated with toxic paint sludge. This dates back to the 1950s when the Ford Motor Company dumped that paint sludge in that area. The new plan would move that recycling plant from where it is on Peters Mine Road just across the street to the contaminated land. So instead of cleaning up the paint sludge, digging that area out, instead that land would be capped with an impermeable cap in order to put the recycling plant on top. So the proposal, which would be significantly cheaper for the township, does not sit well with the Native American community. Chief Wayne Perry has said this from the beginning.
I think part of it is basically raw racism. It hasn't been mentioned by the citizens or by the local community, but the fact is the underlying sentiment in large is racism.
I also was able to chase down Ringwood's mayor, Mayor Heck. He's resisted to speaking to any other media, and I got a chance to get his perspective on this.
The piece of property that the recycling center is going to go on is still going to be 3/4 of it is going to be cleaned up. It's just going to be one section of it that's going to be capped and the recycling center be put on top of.
He says that the cost actually is not an issue.
The cost for the cleanup is going to be borne by Ford Motor Company and our insurance carriers.
We're always talking about these locations in New Jersey that are contaminated, and it's horrible for the residents. But my question is, where does racism really come into play? Does the chief have any proof that they're not cleaning it up because they're Native Americans?
Well, he feels they're not representative in their party figures in Ringwood.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder if it's discrimination, racism, or just incompetence. I mean, as Kate pointed out, we seem to have a lot of these examples going on in New Jersey. Doesn't seem to be handling it as well as New York. Maybe they should look at that rather than just going down discrimination.
My question is why it has taken this long to even address the problem, and where are the priorities of our federal government and the local government when the idea is leave it there, cover up the problem, put a recycling plant in? Maybe it's time to revisit the government boondoggle of mandatory recycling.